Well, this is a little bit shorter of an episode than usual, but that's because 20 minutes into recording the last time, I found out that I accidentally copy-pasted a scene twice, and I didn't even notice. And it took us quite a while to realize it.
I noticed it almost immediately. It was like, we just thought it barely rises above the actual repetitiveness of the game.
Yo, but they have outright reused scenes. Like in the start of the whole Futaba saga, there was that one thing where she was just sitting at a computer, like literally re-listening to a scene that had just happened.
Oh yeah, that was some Dragon Ball Z Namek shit. Like,
oh yeah, I mean you remember, and it's like yeah, they also cut out the main character had one thing to say during that, and they cut that out for the repeat of the conversation, which I still think is just everything you need to say about the main character entirely.
So now this is gonna be the third time we're seeing this.
Oh yeah, or something. I don't know. It was one of the English sections, because the Japanese sections I got to go through so meticulously that could not have happened.
It's pretty enjoyable actually. Just Mishima is so trusting, just so pathetic.
Loyal.
He's so nice, but
he is a worthy sycophant of the Phantom Thieves. And it's just like, even if I'm just like, yeah, well, maybe we did kill him. He's like, no, you didn't. It's like, yes, good.
Mishima is a bit narrow-sighted.
Oh, fine, shucks, we didn't kill. We didn't murder somebody. You're right. We can't lie to you.
That was something I was speculating on way early on, where I'm just like, I was pretty sure that he was going to turn out to be like, you know, the villainous betrayer character, because it's like all it would take was something like this to get him to realize, oh boy.
Haru is,
speaking of characters who are unfortunately devoted to the cause.
Yeah, well, Haru...
It's like...
I'm sorry for worrying all of you.
Yeah, and keep in mind at this point in time, she's still just found out about the whole, like, hey, apparently the principal also got a calling card. Yo, you guys didn't tell me about that. Was this planned? It's like, and she's still like apologizing to them and everything.
Yeah, it's actually pretty pathetic. Like, I mean, at a certain point, it goes from being like, oh, she's kind, to like, is she supposed to be a Christ-like figure or something? Because otherwise, she's laying it on way too thick. It's just I think she just doesn't have anything. They don't have anything to give her, so it's just like they're not going to go hard into another plot line. It would be like Yusuke trying to like suddenly decide, it's just like, I don't know if I agree with the methods that we're using. It's like, no, your storyline is over. Get out of here. And it's like, it could be something where they're trying to make a subtle point about how she's so dependent on the one group of people who has ever done something for her. But I don't think they're doing that. I think it's just, instrumental.
Unfortunately,
writing.
that's also Anne's character too. It's just like, man, so many of the characters that aren't like Ryuji, Goro, get such a raw deal.
Yeah. No, I mean,
and I guess main character, but
if this is a vicious satire of the loneliness of adolescence, then they're doing a pretty good job with that. But I don't think they're doing that. I think this is just like everyone.
Once again, it's just like I don't think that. Every time I think that it might be something like that, where it's just like, oh yeah, like the callousness, fame seeking of the main characters. It's just like that's supposed to be because they're teenagers. And no, I don't think the writers thought about it.
It's just that they have no inner life, so it's indistinguishable from people who are lonely to the point of having nothing going for them.
I mean, certainly not. We don't even. I don't know. It's like we don't know anything about Haru other than gardening and we killed her dad.
Are you just gradually becoming more snarky with your responses to the questions? You're like, let's turn it.
This episode certainly. Remember that it's like this was recorded in like 1 6-hour just depression fest. Yeah, because basically
it's the Persona-apocalypse. Why would you come up with a different term for that?
That. Sure, yeah.
Okay.
It's I got it in one, didn't I?
Yeah. That was
but it's just like 6 hours. It's like, and I was getting just like more and more demoralized because I'm just like, oh god, this is what we have to look forward to for 10 episodes.
Yeah. Also, Mishima is doing a good job with finding like auxiliary missions to
yeah, I'll say that's like that's like That's like the hospital director tier of stuff. That would be a great like regular old palace to go to if we weren't being currently accused of murder.
Mishima just does like he does yeoman's work. He's the only person who seems to actually do anything in the whole group.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, well, here, let's talk about that right now. It's just like, how do you think the future of this plot line is going to go? So we've been accused of murder. The main characters, despite not really, I don't know, seemingly caring about that. It's like they still got to deal with it. Everybody else cares about it. I don't know. They absolve themselves of any guilt that they might have. Or any suspicion that they might have done anything wrong pretty early on, even before they were told about the whole principal card thing.
Just completely kills any tension. Yeah, they're not the actual, like, we know it's a plot. Like, they're telling us it's a plot. Like, this is the equivalent of having, I mean, it's almost like beyond parody. You just have, like, the villain, like Jaws or whatever, just standing over the big office at the top of a big office building, just lecturing people about his evil plan. Except it's not
Jaws was always an underling, though. He worked for the main villain. He wasn't actually the main villain himself, which is why, at one point in time, he turned on the main villain.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Actually, Jaws that'd be pretty cool if Jaws, like, started giving this lecture, and then it turns out it was all bullshit. Like, he didn't mean any of it.
Yeah, that would... I also don't know how well you can speak with, like, those teeth.
Yeah,
I guess I haven't seen any of those movies in a while. Maybe he did actually say more than I thought.
I thought he never said anything, or like one word.
I thought so too.
Like
but
one word
I'm gonna be
answers
honest.
sometimes. Just yeah.
Once again, these guys don't even know about the principal card yet, which is the obvious reason why they would think that they'd be set up. In some ways, again, it's like that would be sort of a realistic thing where they're totally in denial about it, but it's also like, no, that is actually what's happening.
Also, Ryuji, they don't know a damn thing about our situation because we've been private the whole time. And also, they're like, what a massive change in fortune. Man, yeah, one dead body and everyone's calling you a murderer.
That's really how you can sum up this story arc, isn't it?
Also, Haru is apologizing for... I'm sorry, I'm 5 minutes late. My father died.
I feel so bad for so many characters in this game.
I was at my dad's funeral. So, okay, we did a previous version of this, as we stated, and I made a joke, like, oh yeah, you guys, I'm so sorry about being late. I'll go and, I'll do my gardening. I'll get some extra peppers for you guys this year. And then I
jumped in right there and just like, yeah, dude, we haven't even gotten that scene. That's the next episode.
It's a real scene that I apparently predicted by saying the most absurd.
After we were done with the episode, I pulled up that scene and you were flabbergasted. You couldn't even say anything.
I was cracking up. I actually laughed really loud. I remember it. Yeah,
maybe I was laughing so loud that I couldn't hear it.
It's very, like, very ridiculous. Yes.
I've made jokes about, like, are you sure you're not writing this game before?
Yeah, no.
It's just like, Jesus Christ.
It's funny how, like, my writing style is so much like people say that when something is just like so stupid, like it had to be intentional. They're like, so stupid and banal that somebody had to had this incredibly dry wit and wrote it intentionally. It's like, oh, that sounds like something you'd do. That's me.
Deadpan parody tier writing. We've said that before. Say it again.
Yes.
Jesus Christ. Well, what are you supposed to do then, Ryuji? I think that it's like first thing you need to do is actually get out there and start to tell people exactly how your whole thing works, because it's like the whole secretive thing is not going to work if people are trying to imitate you to start with. You don't have to tell them everything, obviously, but it's just like at least get like some information out about how you couldn't have possibly caused this and how there's another cause. People were already rallying to you before. If you give them any reason, just hope against hope, even that it's like they can understand. Even if it is the actual truth, there's still a lot of people that are not going to trust you, but it's like there's still probably enough people that will turn onto your side.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's just like you're going to have to be way fucking more proactive in like taking down the villains, whether it's big businessmen, politicians, it's even celebrities, stuff like, I'm kidding, they're not going to do fucking any of this, man. They're going to wait around until somebody tells them what to do.
You want to get ahead of the story. You want to do everything you can to, like, they've got an anonymous site they can post on there. They could post like the explanation that no, the Phantom Thieves, it doesn't kill people, it just changes their heart, and so this must have been somebody else. We don't know if it's a setup. We don't really know what happened, but no, we did the same thing that we did to these other 3 people who are still, or these other 4 people who are still alive, and
3
I guess 3 people that public. Yeah, you're right. So 3 people that are still alive.
Besides,
and
Futagawa's different.
So no, this is the first time we didn't do it. It's probably related to those mental shutdowns or the death of the principal. We don't really know.
Yeah, we've attracted the attention of enemies basically, and it's like this all sounds like bullshit, but what are you gonna do?
Well,
if you can continue to go ahead and maybe like start to actually throw out some sort of like watermark on your cards that can't be duplicated or some bullshit like that. I don't know. And then make absolutely sure that everybody you hit in the future is done entirely legitimately. I don't know how you're going to prevent somebody from walking into a space station right as it's about to explode and shooting the shadow to death. That's still not really something that made too much sense, but it's like... But again, they're not going to fucking do anything.
No. And to be fair, what you said in the previous version of this, you were saying it actually does make sense in this one case out of all of them for them to actually lie low, because... this is an actual case where there's not really a good response you can have, and any response you can have is going to be suspicious and call attention to yourself and possibly, dox you. So, I think it actually makes sense to do a bunch of social links. It's just incredibly stupid that this is the exception. Like, why is...
That's what they do every time.
Yeah, exactly. It's narratively convenient for them to do what they shouldn't have been doing the whole game. But they
I don't know. It's... unless they were good, the whole thing is like, as much as it would sound like fucking bullshit for them to try and get out ahead of this, it's like, it's either this or they stop being the Phantom Thieves, because you can't recover from this sort of fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, nobody knows anything about you.
And
no, you haven't even tried to contact anyone. It's like you have the website, but it's, once again, Mishima is he's good at what he does, but he can't, speak for you.
Mishima is a little bit overmatched when it comes to, murder. Like, he's not cut out for
that too.
A situation involving the death of another human being. I just think...
Well, thankfully, it's just like the death of another human being is about as inconvenient as just getting too popular in the last story arc.
Yeah.
Or... God, like having Goro talk about them on television, it's treated with about that much gravitas.
Also, who's the non-Shido bald villain that we were kind of in the office building?
Yeah, I remember it just like last episode. You're like, hey, Shido doesn't really seem all that interesting. It's like, oh yeah, that's not Shido. Shido's the guy with the orange tinted glasses.
I thought
that's unnamed police commissioner for the Special Investigations Bureau. It's Sainajima's boss, but
so got all the...
We've seen more scenes of him just plotting and being evil than actually being her boss.
Yeah, and also just like, just doing this malicious plotting, but he's not important enough to get a name. So it's just this kind of, it's not a sinister evil, it's a known, we know exactly what he's doing, we know exactly what he's plotting, so there's no tension there. But we have to go through the melodrama of going through his plot. It's just... There's no...
Every time I say, we got to sit here and watch these idiot jabronis figure out what we've known for 20 hours.
Yeah. I was thinking about I think we were talking about this yesterday, and it's just all running together. But there's
when we're doing it daily, it's like no surprise that it's like I'm making mistakes when it starts to come to like transcribing this and like shoving in some of the English stuff, especially because it's like I'm.
But there's a way to make this a lot of interesting stuff does potentially happen in this 5th arc. Like, it's much better than the previous one. It's much better than the previous 2, because there's actually things that are happening, tensions within the group, things that could potentially be interesting. Like the events, if you just narrated them in a page of text as a summary, you wouldn't be like, oh, that seems like a completely plotting, uninteresting plot. No, it's got something going there, but the way that they pace it, the way they reveal information, they just tell you everything. They just tell you that, oh, well, you were framed, and we're gonna figure that out.
Then we just watch them slowly figure it out.
Yeah, they tell a potentially decent story with none of the beats in the right places. It's like syncopated, but unintentionally, I guess you could say. The story beats.
Thing with the story, though, it's just like that was also true for the last 2 arcs as well. I remember being like excited about the Medjet arc because it's just like, oh yeah, this is somebody that they can't pin down. It's somebody that's anonymous. It's somebody that's online. They might not even be in Japan. This is going to be an interesting sort of challenge for them.
Yeah, it's like
or similarly, it's just like, yeah, Morgana is a really prideful character, and he's been hurt over and over by the complete inactivity of the main characters. It's interesting to see him finally going off and trying to do his own, and then he gets kicked to the curb 3 times.
Yeah,
just like,
exactly.
Oh, okay.
Kind of reminds me of that, that Oscar Wilde thing where he's talking about like, oh yeah, like he's talking to a wealthy socialite who's like, oh, if we had a kid and it had my beauty in your brains, it'd be the most wonderful child. And then Oscar Wilde just immediately is like, well, what if it has, my my beauty in your brains? It would be an abomination. So
I mean, it's
like this has got the story it's got the story of something really interesting. It's kind of like the Wire crossed with some like
I don't know if I would say that quite.
Twin Peaks crossed with The Wire, except it's the worst elements of both of them. It's non-linear in the most uninteresting.
It's non-linear
way.
in plotting in the way that Twin Peaks is, but it's also like, sometimes very narratively convenient. Actually, I'm not entirely sure if that was a problem with The Wire. I don't know as much about that show.
I just picked two kind of at random. It was the point is it's non-linear.
Twin Peaks is great. It can be slow.
There's non-linear because you're writing Lost Highway, and there's non-linear because you can't draw a straight line.
Oh boy. I mean, I will also bring up one more time that it's just like, at when we saw Okamura get shot, I had to keep talking myself down because I was getting excited again for this plot line. And look at where we are now.
And
it's like I'm learning. I'm we're slowly getting more exhausted and more frustrated with the storyline, but in a way that we just accept it rather than, try and rage against it. Certainly there's still a lot of raging, but I feel like by the end of this, we're just going to be like,
Well, you're taking care of yourself, right? I mean, you're not like, you're just translating this when you have free time, right? You're not like...
Yeah, I'm not staying up like 2, 3 a.m. or something, making sure that I'm going to get these things out, daily and everything like that. I haven't had 2 sodas and an energy drink and a coffee today.
Kind of a classic, like, you're getting your 8 hours.
Didn't pass out at 5 p.m. when I get home.
Just doing a classic.
For an hour. Woke up and just felt like shit, and then I'm just like, time to go record Bunny Must Die.
Getting your vegetables, working out.
Well, I mean, I am doing that.
Okay, good.
Getting the vegetables from the girl whose dad I just murdered, That was the best kind.
Yeah.
Just talking about this like why don't we just talk about this for the rest of the series like we did in fact murder Okamura? Just there we go. That's the headcanon. And also Yoshizawa is being taken care of by you know what? Everybody's dad is Sojiro. I want to just say that right now. As it turns out, Makoto's dad faked his own death, went to go run a coffee shop. Yoshizawa's dad cheering her on from the sidelines from his coffee shop. And it's just like, she doesn't want to disappoint her parents because he's currently running a coffee shop. And it's not going great. It's going okay, but,
Sakura
basically
knows all of these things and just...
Did I lose you?
No. You were just going through your tour to Horizon.
This sucks.
Oh, yeah, the shit that I just made up seconds ago and clearly had very, very, very well thought out ahead of time.
Yeah, no. All their fathers are Sojiro, and he doesn't want to tell them because they're all getting along. They're good friends. As long as they don't,
Yeah, I mean, it's like, look, they're already friends with each other, so it's okay. As long as... Najima seems to have also completely moved on. She doesn't even want to refer to Sojiro by his name. She just pretends he's some random coffee shop owner, so it's cool.
Yeah.
Oh right, Najima is not actually her mom. I forgot that was another thing too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I actually forgot that for a second.
Yeah, that's right. It's always like I always forget that because it would make a lot more sense, just frankly. Like, oh yeah.
Yeah, but I believe the kayfabe itself right there.
You just
actually became a mark for my own idiocy.
Yeah, we're just talking, and at a certain point, the words just stop meaning anything. I mean, that's a classic thing that
opens
happens.
your mouth.
Open, but the words don't come out.
There you go.
Okay.
They do come out. They just don't make sense.
Yeah.
Now you're choking now.
But he's smoking now. He's opened his mouth. The words don't come out. First Tuesday afternoon. Look, we don't have anything.
I told you the last time we record this episode, it's not going to be out until Thursday.
Yeah, that's right. Thursday.
Whoa, that one does not have enough good plosives in it like JP Morgan. Callbacks. Fucking hell, don't do it at the same time. Makes it sound like we had this planned.
We did not have that planned. We just independently said callback because we.
Fuck.
Hey, why'd that guy throw that chalk at us?
Because he's an asshole like everybody in this game.
Is he the one who thinks you should have your life figured out by the time you're a sophomore?
That's him. That's Ishimaru. I remember when he was first introduced, I related to him having to deal with all these rowdy, cantankerous kids.
Okay,
now he's just fucking abusing them like a... Yeah, we're done.
We've got one more episode for this today.
For this recording session.
Yes.
And tomorrow for two more.
Hooray.